Hello ladies, and welcome back to Still Looking Good 58, the channel that reviews wigs for the mature woman. I am Faith, and today is the very first episode of Wigs and Wisdom Wednesday. And as I told you guys earlier on Instagram, we are going to be talking about menopause. But we are also going to be talking about this wig, which is an Outre wig called Amanda. And I have her in the color DR2 Creamy Toffee. And I'm going to show you some video in a minute of Amanda and how I styled her. But first, let's get to this. The reason why I want to talk about menopause is because a lot of ladies who follow me are either in menopause, have been in menopause for a while, or about to go into menopause. And a lot of times people have questions about it, and that's what I wanted to address today with some of the questions. And let me just tell you all who aren't familiar with me, I am a former television reporter and newspaper reporter, and so I did my research before I came up with the answers to the 20 questions that I got about menopause. So just know that if I am going to be telling you information about my personal experience, and that's basically editorial, and everything else is going to be news and factual based, okay? So I went to several websites. I went to the Cleveland Clinic, I went to WebMD, I went to menopause.org, just a bunch of different places, and that's where I got my information. So I just wanted to preface this by telling you that I'm just not making this up, that I actually got this from some legitimate sources. So the first question that I wanted to answer is, what is menopause? And so I'm actually going to read this from menopause.org. It says, menopause is defined as the final menstrual period and usually confirmed when a woman has missed her period for 12 consecutive months. Now that's important. 12 consecutive months you have to have missed your period, and it has to be in the absence of any other obvious causes. So it has to be just about menopause, no other reason why you missed your period. But it says menopause is associated with reduced functioning of the ovaries due to aging, resulting in lower levels of estrogen and other hormones. It marks the permanent end of fertility, so no more kids, right? Menopause occurs on average, it says, at age 51. Now this can change and vary between women. It occurs most often between the ages of 45 and 55. Now mine started at 46. The term premenopause refers to the phase of life that precedes menopause, and we'll talk about that in a minute. For many women, it is an optimal time to reassess their health. So yeah, it's a good time to think about your health when you're going into menopause. So what I wanted to again emphasize is you are in post-menopause after that period of no periods, okay? So for me, it's been 16 years that I've supposedly been in post-menopause, and we'll talk about that, but yeah, so you again are in post-menopause after that first year of being without your period, okay? So you're not necessarily in menopause for 15 or 16 years. You're actually post-menopause. And excuse me, I have allergies, and I do not know why I'm having such a bad time today. So, okay, so what we're going to talk about next, number 2, is what is perimenopause. Now, again, I'm going to read this from one of my sources. It says, this is the period leading up to menopause. Your periods get irregular or change from light to heavy or vice versa. Your breasts can feel more tender, PMS gets worse, right? There are lots of other things, but those are the main ones, usually caused due to less estrogen production and hormone levels changing to get you ready for menopause. So that is what perimenopause is. Okay, next question. What is premature menopause? Now this is important. Premature menopause happens at about 1% of women in the United States. And that means it occurs if you are 40 or younger. So if you go into menopause without it being induced, and we'll talk about inducement later, but if you go into menopause prior to age 40 or at 40, then you are in premature menopause. It says that it could be caused by genetics or autoimmune or metabolic if it has not been induced, and we'll talk about that. So they're not really sure why premature menopause happens. They don't seem to have an answer to that. So yeah, one of those mysteries of science, right? Okay, so one of my first questions that I got was, how do you know when menopause has started? And again, we talked about that. If you have no other causes for missing your period, and you missed your period for a year, 12 consecutive months, then you are in menopause, okay? All right, so got that cleared up. So somebody asked me at what age it started for me, and I said 46. there are a lot of common symptoms, and I'm going to read some of what those are. Hot flashes, and we're going to talk a lot about that. Night sweats. You can get vaginal dryness, which I didn't experience that, but you can get that. Trouble sleeping, I didn't notice that either. Mood changes, yeah. Weight gain. Now, I didn't gain any weight when I went into menopause. Yeah, I didn't gain any weight, but yeah, you can. People talk about the hot flashes, and some people don't really understand what they are. So I'm going to explain to you what they are, because trust me, I know. The best way that I can explain it is it's this feeling that kind of comes over you from the inside out. It's like a warmth. It's not like getting hot outside in the sun. It's like getting hot on the inside. And I'm not talking sexual hot. I'm talking about hot, where it just kind of grows up inside and just you start getting hot on the inside. It's just very weird. It's hard to explain. But I hate it. It's awful. But the doctors say that they believe that it's caused by changes in the hypothalamus, which controls body temperature. Duh, that makes sense, right? And so this is how they explain how it happens. It says, if the hypothalamus mistakenly senses that a woman is too warm, it starts a chain of events to cool her down. Blood vessels near the surface of the skin begin to dilate or enlarge, increasing blood flow to the surface in an attempt to dissipate the body heat. It may also make a woman perspire to cool the body down, and that happens to me too. The heart may beat faster, women may sense that rapid heartbeat, and a cold chill often follows the hot flash. Now, I don't recall getting cold chills after my hot flash. I just kind of feel like I'm going back to normal after it happens. Yeah, but I absolutely hate them. And as I said, I've been in menopause since I was 46, now I'm 63, and it's still going on. And the worst part for me is that the hot flashes have come back strong in like my 17th year. This is my 17th year. When I first got them in the beginning, they were bad, but they weren't as regular as they are now. It seems like I have them every day all the time. Okay, so let me tell you what triggers a hot flash. And this is important to know because when you start getting them, there may be ways for you to kind of counteract them. One of the things that triggers a hot flash is caffeine. Caffeine, like if I get up in the morning and I drink a cup of coffee, if I'm outside in the sun or if it's too warm in the house, I'm gonna have a hot flash because the combination of caffeine and heat makes it happen for me. Smoking can cause a hot flash, spicy foods, alcohol, yeah, that's another one. If you have a drink and it's hot, you're gonna get a hot flash. Tight clothing, it says, and stress and anxiety, of course, so yeah. So yeah. So if you're working outside in the hot weather, you're going to get a hot flash too. So yeah, whatever. Okay, moving on. So next question is, how long will I have hot flashes? Let me just tell you, girlfriend, this is going to go on for a long time. The experts say that most women experience hot flashes, get this, 6 months to 2 years. That's what the experts say. Although some reports suggest that they last considerably longer, as long as 10 years. Okay, and it says depending on when they begin. For a small portion of women, they never go away. I'm one of those women. Like I said, I'm going on 17 years, I'm still having them. It's horrible. I was told by my doctor that they were going to go away after 12 years. And I thought 12 years was a long time. Oh my goodness, 12 year, when that 12-year mark hit, I'm telling you, I was ready. They didn't go away. It says some women will keep having hot flashes even into their 70s and beyond. So I mean, it's not anything to look forward to, right? This menopause thing. Okay, so then they say there's no reliable way of predicting when they will start or stop. So I guess the bottom line is you just got to live with it. And I hate that because I cannot stand hot flashes. And the night sweats are even worse, but yeah. Okay, next question. How do you know when it's safe to stop using birth control when you go into menopause? Good question. They say, these experts, that if you do not have a period for 1 full year, you're okay. So they said you need to continue some method of birth control until that full year has gone by. So don't think, you know, I would wait. I wouldn't do it like, I wouldn't stop if I was taking it, which I don't, but if I was, I would go a little bit beyond that year because you just never know. You just never know, unless you're trying to get pregnant. Okay, yeah, the question about can menopause start earlier, it's true it can. But well, let me tell you how it can start earlier. Menopause usually starts earlier, other than those other things that we mentioned, because it's induced. And induced means that your ovaries are removed. If your ovaries are removed, you're immediately going to go into menopause, no matter what age you are that you have your ovaries removed. If they're removed, you're immediately going to go into menopause. And that usually happens because of surgery, chemotherapy, radiation damage, medications that may be treating other diseases can also bring you into menopause. But yeah, it's usually because you've had your ovaries removed. And then the question is, what about hysterectomy? Okay, now I had one of those, but that was after I was already in menopause. According to the Cleveland Clinic, if you just have your uterus removed and not your ovaries, you may not have menopause symptoms right away. Now that's the first time I've heard that before. So they're saying if only your uterus is removed and not your ovaries, you may not go into menopause. But know that if you have your ovaries removed, you're going to go into menopause immediately. Okay, next question. How can I counteract the vaginal dryness? Now, I didn't have this problem, but I did look it up so I could get some answers for you. And some of the things that I found were very interesting. So to counteract that, or to prevent the vaginal dryness, it says stop using fabric softeners and anti-cling products on your underwear. I'd never heard that before. But they're saying that if you stop using fabric softeners and anti-cling products on your underwear, that will help you avoid vaginal dryness. It also says to stop using soap and powder down there. Now, I have heard about powder down there causing cancer, but not actually vaginal dryness. But yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? But they do say that you can get vaginal lubricants and moisturizers to help. And get this, they said more sex helps keeping your vagina from getting dry. More sex, they said. It says the reason, I'm giving you a reason now. It says it keeps the blood flowing to that area and helps maintain the size of your vagina, which is interesting. It says otherwise it's going to get smaller and drier. Now that I'd never heard, but yeah, that's very interesting. So yeah, so if you're married or whatever, more sex is supposed to help you with that. Okay, moving right along. Will my sexual desire decrease? Now that's a good question, but again, that is a personal question. That varies from woman to woman. It can happen not necessarily because of menopause, of course. And some women have gone to their doctor to actually get a hormone cocktail that will help them with their desire after menopause. But usually what's the best advice is to go to your doctor and have them run some tests so that they can find out if it's really because of menopause and like low hormone levels or some other reason. Okay, here's a question that I'd never heard before. Will I grow facial hair when I go into menopause? I've never heard that before. But from what the experts say, you could. It says it's possible that it's a factor in menopause to grow more facial hair. That didn't happen to me, but yeah, another one of those wonderful things when you're going through that change, right? Okay, again, when does menopause end? We're gonna skip that one because it never ends. It never ends. Okay, does menopause cause incontinence? And I hadn't heard that question before either. It says, the experts say that it could, but they did not all agree that it was actually linked to menopause. So if you have incontinence, again, check with your doctor because it may not necessarily be related to menopause. So somebody asked me, did you ever try hormone therapy? Yes, I did. I actually took a pill called estradiol, and it was a once-a-day pill, but you could also get therapy in gels or patches. But for me, the biggest problem with taking the estradiol was that it had a breast cancer risk. And so my doctor recommended that I only stay on it for like a couple of months and then go off a month. And so I was doing that, but the problem with doing that is that you're on it and you're getting rid of those hot flashes and hey, everything's wonderful. But then when you go off it to take that break, those hot flashes come back with a vengeance. And then trying to get back on that regular schedule with the pill is it's terrible. So I just stopped taking it. I stopped taking it because it was just too confusing. And it was making the hot flashes worse because when I got off the pill, yeah, it was just worse. Okay, another question. Does menopause cause hair loss? It didn't for me. Stress really caused my hair loss. When I talked to you guys about how I started my wig channel, stress really caused my hair loss. But they say that it can happen and it should last about 6 months if it does happen. But again, doctors are saying to eat a healthy diet, low in red meat and calories, and rich in zinc, iron, vitamin D, and biotin. And they're also saying take a daily multivitamin. And I do take a daily multivitamin and vitamin D, extra vitamin D. But yeah, again, talk to your doctor about the hair loss issue. Does menopause increase the risk of some cancers? Now it's saying no. The experts are saying no, except what I was telling you about the hormone therapy that you take. If you take some HRT, then of course there's going to be some side effects associated with that. But just keep this in mind that as we get older, we're going to be at higher risk for certain cancers. We just are. Once you get past 55, that's just it. That is just it. So ladies, those were all the questions that I had about menopause. If you have any other questions, put them down in the comments below. If you have any comments about things that you've been going through with menopause, put those down in the description. If you are young and you're concerned about menopause, if there are any questions that I did not cover, put those down there and we will address those. I want to show you guys the install of the wig, and then we're going to let it go. So let's take a look. Okay, ladies, Amanda was really not a bad install. She really wasn't bad. And like you saw, I glued her down with some Sif, and I'll show you, I'll put that information down in the description section too, because Sif was something that Magical Blackness was talking about on her channel once, and I tried it and I really do like it. It lays down really well without heat, which is really interesting. Sif lays down without heat. And of course I did a few little baby hairs, and I used my hot comb a little bit, but yeah, mine didn't have too many curls. Let me just get a close up here. Mine just didn't have too many curls. My Amanda. I don't know about everybody else, but I really didn't feel like I got too many curls out of this. I kind of liked this swoop bang, of course. And I did try to do a little bit of baby hair. You guys know that's not my thing, but yeah. But I love this DR Creamy Toffee color, DR2. It's a dark rooted 2 and creamy toffee, and I really do love this. So anyways, ladies, thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscription button and the notification bell so that you do not miss any of my uploads. Next Friday, I'm going to have another regular wig review, and as I told you guys down in the comments, I'm going to be doing Wigs and Wisdom Wednesday every other Wednesday, and then I'm going to be doing a wig review every other Friday. So I will have an upload every week, but only on Wednesday and on Friday, every other Wednesday and every other Friday, because I have got so much going on right now, and I'm getting ready to get back to my writing, and we're going back to work. I mean, back to the office work. I mean, I'm working every day, but we're going back to the office work. So since we're going back to the office, I'm going to have to sort of reorg my schedule for that. Whew, ciao. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching again. And as I always say, if you're going to show love to anyone today, please show it to the creator. I'm still looking good, and of course, so are you. See you next time.